What's going on, Jessica?
Hey, Adam.
Is this your first podcast?
Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thanks.
You know, someone who performs all the time, I assume you would be we've done more of these, you know?
I know, I guess.
Some radio spots, maybe?
First time I've been invited.
That's true. You know, it's funny. You kind of get wrapped up in it. You know what I mean? Because you're like, I should probably do one with her. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, I have actually people that I know that do podcasts as well. Same. I've always kind of like secretly hoped. I'm like,
someone
maybe
ask you?
somebody will ask me to be
You know,
on
it's
one.
funny. It's like one of those things where I guess you don't want to ask that person because you assume like they would slowly show interest and want it, like hint at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like, hey, well, you know, it'd be cool to hop on sometime. Like, oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You know, but if no one mentioned that, you're like, oh, okay. Like,
Yeah.
so I think that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then if you say no, it's awkward.
That's
Like
true.
if someone says no in the DMs on me, I'm like, oh, whatever. But if someone's like, I know, they're like, no, why would I be on your podcast? And they're like, oh, never mind. Right? So maybe you just intimidate people.
Maybe.
That's
Maybe
why people
that's it. I doubt it. but-
No, you never know. So, congratulations. Start of the year.
Yeah.
Close the deal. How was it?
It was good.
Yeah?
It was, you know, I mean, had all the things, like, definitely was not like a smooth process.
Why don't we
but-
walk through, like, because obviously the biggest fear of an agent is the first transaction.
Absolutely.
Because it's like so much of the unknown
Yeah.
and the process and
Yeah.
like what might come up and like now it's for real.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question here before we
Sure.
get into that. What was more nerve-wracking, your first escrow or the first time you performed in your band? This show is sponsored by Resilient Real Estate Group, powered by EXP. So, you're thinking about buying and selling soon? Yes, we know you probably know a realtor, your mom's best friend's cousin's neighbor who puts her face on the local shopping cart. But you know what? Our friends at Resilient Real Estate Group have helped hundreds of thousands of people sell houses over the years, and they definitely know what they're doing based on their 5-star review on Google and Zillow. So, it doesn't matter if you're looking to buy $1 million house or a fixer-upper, make sure the next time you're thinking about buying and selling real estate, you give our friends a call over at Resilient Real Estate Group. And now we're back to the show.
First time I've performed.
Oh, really?
Probably. Well, I guess that's more isolated, right? Because like leading up to performing in the band, it's, yes, there's huge nerves, but it's like short-term nerves. Because the second, usually for me, it's like the second I get on stage, the nerves kind of fade away.
And it's shorter.
It is short.
It's
yeah.
not like 30 days.
No, it's like that day
Yeah.
or maybe the day before, depending on the pressure of the gig. But as far as like, you know, doing your first deal in real estate, I mean, this is something that you start stressing like when you start studying for your, you know, your license,
Yeah.
and then you get into actually getting your license, and then it's like, okay, let's get this ball rolling, and then nerves just build the longer the time goes before you get your first deal.
It's that anxiety builds up.
Yeah.
Then doubt comes in your head.
Yeah, well, it doesn't help that you're getting all these emails, how to stay out of jail, and you know.
Only you get those emails.
Really?
I've never received an email like
It
that.
just works with my anxious brain. I
Yeah,
guess.
your anxiousness. I guess like it's interesting like how different it is for everyone. Like I try to remember, I'm trying to remember, was I nervous? Like I look back at my career now and I'm like, God, I was so terrible back then. Like I've done deals, with my clients. My buddy Peter, I got him. When we grew up together, I sold his house and he bought a new build, and I sold that one. He bought it, and it's so funny the transition from the first time I sold his house to like the last time I sold his house. He even said, he's like, dude, this is so much better. I'm like,
Did
I
he
know.
notice the difference?
Oh well, like back then I was like taking my own photos. Like,
Oh, okay.
I didn't have an assistant.
Okay.
Had no clue what we were doing. I literally had no idea what we were doing, honestly.
That's funny.
Luckily, it was like such a small price point in Reno Valley. I think it was like $228 was like my first deal, or $260. No, that one was $250. My first listing was $228. The other one was $250. Yeah, those are my two first listings.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? And then I had another listing that it was $550. I totally on it, lost that deal,
Oh.
never sold it. It was like a long escrow, like 150 days. I didn't have the stones to like ask for price reductions back then. I was so new.
It's crazy to think that you were doing listings with houses in the 200s in
Isn't that
Reno
crazy?
Valley to what it is now.
Oh, I mean, I sold a house one time in downtown Riverside. I had a client buy a house for $232, and we just sold that thing for $575. So like, it's crazy, right? Think of a commission check on $250.
Yeah, no.
Isn't that crazy? Like 2.5% on 250. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it is crazy. Like,
I know the ability to become like a multi-million-dollar real estate agent in this day and age is like, okay, I just sold over $1 million. I just sold 2 houses or maybe 1 house.
I know, to think like, I think last year, I think it was my lowest year ever. I think I sold 15 houses and I still sold 10 million. And then my first year I sold like 25 for like barely 7 million. Like,
that's crazy.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's definitely like interesting. Like, but the thing that people don't realize is like the process is exactly the same thing, the same way. The work, it's the same amount of work.
Yeah.
It's the same amount of stress. It's the same amount of dealing with clients. It's the same amount. There's nothing different to it.
Yeah.
So if you're ever trying to move up to like moving up your price point, it's like.
Do you think like the people who are listing the house or maybe even buying, like they act different because there's more money on the line?
No, I just think you're in that like network. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think you just like have like gotten into that network of people, so then they just like trust you more because you're part of the group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you sold so and so's house, and that guy, and then you sold so and so's house. You know what I mean? I think that's really how like the game works. You know?
Yeah.
Like hopefully in the future, like we'll just start going after developers. Be like, oh, I sold this project, we've leased that project, we broke ground on this project, we brought money in on that project, you know, and then it's like we're just the developer guy, you know, 25 and lower, 25 units or lower, we sell them, you know.
Yeah,
that's the plan.
It's a good plan.
Why don't you tell everyone who you are?
Who am I?
Yeah, that's an opening question.
An existential question.
Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Jessica, and I am a real estate agent, fairly new to the industry. I say new just because I'm kind of fresh and getting my first couple of deals. I'm a performer, as you heard earlier, but I sing in a band called Tough Monday. Shout out to them.
Tough Monday.
Yeah.
How many members are in the band?
There's 5.
We should do a podcast with them.
We should.
Yeah, we got 4 mics in here. We can figure out a 5th.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
But only I can wear the cool headphones. They can't bring their own headphones. Only I get to wear the cool ones.
And no inner monitor.
No inner. You have to wear the big old school over the head, and they're cheap ones too. They're not even the good ones. So, what made you get in a band?
I've sung my whole life.
Yeah.
Ever since I was a little girl, always dreamed of being on stage, especially as a rock star.
Yeah. What kind of music guys do?
We do all kinds of music: pop, rock, R&B. Like, it's just all over the map.
Mm. How do you remember all the songs?
So I mean, obviously, you probably walk around anywhere you go, and you kind of instinctively know songs. Isn't that crazy? Because you've heard them so much.
That's like when that song you haven't heard in 10 years, you remember the words, but you don't even know where your keys are at half the time.
Yeah. So I do have like an iPad that I keep on stage, just as sort of like a stay place. Because what ends up happening is sometimes my nerves get the best of me, and I'll just lose my place. Sometimes I get landlocked on stage, and then I don't. It's like, where am I? I have no idea what I'm doing. Where am I in this song? And so I do need that iPad there just for reference point. But other than that, like, a lot of the songs we're doing are popular songs, so you kind of just know it. And
then be honest, some people also don't all know the words exactly. No. So even if you kind of go off, like, no one's gonna even know the difference.
Nobody knows.
Yeah. Because they probably think those are the words anyways. You know what I mean?
Inevitably, we're having a blast. It's usually really fun for the band. We'll have a couple of beers on stage, and sometimes,
it gets a little loose.
Verses end up being repeated. It's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you guys bring the band together?
So I had, so my other singer, so I sing with another girl, her name is Natalie, and we knew each other from when we were young. We were in musical theater together. And, we actually had a band up in the Eastern Sierra where I grew up, and, I had moved down to Southern California first and was devastated because I had to leave my band behind and didn't really have a musical community. And then when we moved down here to Southern California, she came probably a year or two later, and it was just
locked in.
And then I had my drummer from the same band in the Eastern Sierra. He came down, and it was like, okay, this is like meant to be. We have to do this.
So you're saying people do not like living up there?
No, I think when you're like born and raised up there, there is this element of you're in a small town and you just seek opportunity in bigger areas. It can be quite restricting.
Yeah.
You know, everybody knows everything about who you are. And I don't know. Most of the people I know and graduated high school, they ran. And, you know, a lot of times you do gravitate back because it is beautiful. And, you know, you are known up there and you have connections up there and it feels safe and comfortable. But at the end of the day, you kind of feel like you want to spread your wings.
Yeah, I think and it's crazy. It's like, obviously you're from an actual small town. You know, people always say Riverside's like the biggest small town. Like everyone knows everyone. And like, if you're in the know, everyone knows you. But like same thing, like a lot of people like leave, you know, like if you run to LA now or you run to Orange County or, you know, and then sooner or later you like float back. Like I know people are like, they want to so bad not live in Riverside, but they cannot afford Orange County. And it's like, oh, you're in Riverside. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same concept of, you know, maybe living at your parents' house, right? Mm-hmm. You know, if you just continually stay at your parents' house, you're never going to learn or grow and mature in the way that you really ultimately should. So I think it's similar with the small town mentality.
Was it a hard transition when you came down here?
Yes, it is hard just because, like I said, I'm so used to going to the supermarket and knowing everybody there. Or if I need to find a job, say, like I can get a job like anywhere, in the next 15 minutes just because I know so many people. Or I don't know, there is just a comfort level to being in a small town. So coming down here and you're walking around and don't know anybody and you don't have that connection to community, it's a little hard to, I don't know, you feel isolated, I guess you could say.
And I think that's the thing too, is like you just try to figure out like finding your niche. And like as you get older, it's really hard to find a niche of people. Like it's so crazy. Something you probably like I never thought of when I was like 18 or in high school or whatever. It's like to get friends when you're in your 30s, like you have to work with them or your kids have to be friends.
That's true.
Like that's it. Like you have to have something, like maybe like, you know, I'm a member of Victoria Club, so I picked up friends there, but like true friends, like almost your friends, your kids decide who your friends are. Yeah. Like, oh, I'm friends with their kid or whatever. It's like, it's not easy to like go out and get new friends. But you go like the local pub and be like, hey, I'm looking for a friend. Do you want to be friends with me?
It's not like being on the playground when you're a little kid. Like, hey, you look cool. Can we play?
Yeah. I remember, I mean, obviously it's been a long time since I've been on dating websites, but I remember like Bumble had like a friend side of it. You could swipe to be friends with people. Can you imagine, like, hey, how long have you guys been friends for? Well, we matched on Bumble a few months ago, so 3 months. So what made you get into real estate?
I've always been in the construction industry, actually. My dad had a painting business up in the Eastern Sierras, and then I married a man who's in asphalt and construction. And
so if you need an asphalt, call her.
So I've always just, you know, from being with my dad, going into houses and exploring houses and things like that. I've always loved interior design, and honestly, like, future goals are getting into flipping houses and stuff like that. But my great friends that I grew up with, Aaron and Sarah, they're in real estate in Tennessee, and, you know, watching them succeed and watching them flourish. And, you know, we're very similar personality types, and just to see, it's like, oh, wow, the type of people we are, it really works in the real estate industry. And I, you know, just started drawing all these correlations of all the things that I love. And I love people and I love houses, and
put two and two together.
Put them both together.
Is it a little different than you thought it was going to be?
Yeah, I would say it is different, but there is still a lot of elements to it that I did, you know, they are similar to what I thought. So
I wish I could have like documented like my thoughts back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like I don't even remember like what I thought it would be like. Mm-hmm. Like I wish I could have go back and be like, what was Adam thinking his first day in the office?
That's true.
Because I never had a job really before that, so it was like, oh, I'm in an office now, and but you're not an employee, but you like have to follow rules. It was, and then it was like, just go figure it out.
Yeah.
go buy and sell houses. Okay, how do I do that? I have no idea.
Yeah. I mean,
at least you signed your first offer. I didn't even do that my first time. I sent over an offer and I didn't sign it. I didn't know I had to. The listing agent had to send it back to me going, so you didn't sign anywhere? Oh, Oh, DocuSign must have not worked. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't sign my first offer. Sent over.
Wow.
Thank God that house was on the market for a while before.
So there was some flexibility.
Yes, there was some room in that price.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's funny now. I'm like, I sometimes have to remind myself that. It's like now I'm like, some agent called me today and I was like, well, we're not taking her offer. Like I don't want. Like she knows nothing. Like I'm that guy now.
Yeah, I think the first offer I wrote was just in the craziness of 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I didn't know what I was doing in terms of like how I was fully building it in a way that would be like seen and accepted. And
I don't think anyone
did everything
did.
wrong.
Like the only way you got houses in 2021 was like literally you were all cash, like 100 over asking, or you knew the listing agent.
It's just nuts.
Like it was like, dude. It's so fun. It's crazy because it's like this world of mix of like what people tell you and then what reality actually is. Like, oh, I'm gonna wait until it's a buyer's market. Now we're in a buyer's market. No, I'm gonna wait. It's like, okay, you told me you want, like you didn't want to buy because like Kyle Whistle always tells me it's like someone can always find a reason not to buy. Like, there's always a reason not to buy a house.
There is.
There really is.
I have like some of my son's friends that are starting to like, start thinking about buying a house, and we just had a conversation a couple of days ago and he was like, this is not practical. The houses are just going to keep going up and then I'm just going to have to buy them at that price.
Yeah.
Like that's the way it works. It's not like the housing market doesn't adapt to the people that can afford it.
I know.
It's the market drives up the prices.
And especially in Southern California, we have such a short of housing. Like the moment it dips back into somewhat affordability, it's driven right back up.
Yeah.
Like I don't think people realize it's like when it finally like touches down, it doesn't sit on the water.
Not for long.
It touches and goes back up, and then it's like it's kind of like what was a game I used to play, like the bird game or something? I don't know. It was a penguin. It was a long time ago. But like you would literally just touch the water and bounce. Like that was the goal. Like not to stay in the water that long. Like the moment it comes in affordability, boom, right back up. Then it goes back down. Then boom, goes right back up. Like, and, I mean, it sucks, but it only sucks. But you're not. It's everyone complains about it until you own the house, and then you're like pumped.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then you're like, sweet. When I go sell it, like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I just think like the only people that complain are the ones that can't afford it. Like,
it's true.
That's the only thing. And the thing is too, it's like, I know people have left the state because they're like, I just can't afford it here.
Right.
And who is this? Someone said this one time to me. They're like, not everyone has. No, it's not your right to afford a house in Southern California. You can go buy a house in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee. Yeah. That you can afford.
Well, Tennessee prices are kind of high now too.
Actually,
everybody went to Tennessee.
That's why I said middle of nowhere. I think that's the hard part with Southern California. It's like it's very expensive.
Yeah.
Which is great, but the boomers still think like, oh, well, I bought a house, it was $97,000, my interest rate was 20%. I was like, yeah, but it was $97,000.
Yeah.
So for you, like being an agent and getting the first one under your belt, like what did you take away from it? Because there's so many people I think are in your position.
That are just now.
There's more people in your position than in my position.
Yeah.
There's more people that are going to sit here a few months into being a realtor, still trying to get their feet under herself. Then the anxiety builds up. Like, you know what I mean? Like we get on calls on the mastermind and I'm like, how do I get where agents don't call my phone? And people are like, why does he not want agents calling his phone? I'm like, because I have an assistant and I have all this stuff. So for you, it's like there's way more people that can relate to you. So like after your first deal, like what did you take away from that you're like, whew, now that I got that off my shoulders, now it's like, okay, now it's like first time being on stage, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean...
And everyone starts clapping at the end. You're like okay, I did do a good job. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
You know I can waste no time, because I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. You know I can waste no time, because I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. You know I can waste no time, because I gotta keep it tight. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me.
I think that definitely, I mean, being able to utilize a transaction coordinator was like
Number one.
key. Cause like,
Can you imagine doing that on your own?
No, that's the thing. All the paperwork and stuff. That's where I would have really been, nerve wracked in terms of like, yeah, exactly. The complexity of all the paperwork that we have to fill out is kind of nuts.
Daunting.
But beyond that, I do think I built it up bigger in my head than I had. I was really nervous for, if there was any conflict or, like the negotiation process or, having to discuss price reductions with the listing people, I just thought all those things were going to be much bigger of an issue than they actually were. And, just having confidence in myself that I know how to interact with people.
You know how to talk to someone?
I do. Like,
wow,
shocker.
congratulations.
I didn't realize I knew how to do that. So just the interaction element. I was better than I thought I was in the moment. So it's just going through that process that allows me to, I guess, believe in myself in the way that I didn't prior to, because it's just a situation I've never been in before.
Well, and the hard part about it is, too, it's like 90% of the time, what people don't realize is like 90% of a transaction, like, you're only really making like 2 good calls, 2 or 3. Like, hey, we got an offer, that's good, and then we're closing. Like, maybe in the middle, like, hey, like appraisal came in, repairs, there's no repairs, and loan's done. So like outside of 30 days, like all the calls you make, only really about 3 are good ones. Yeah. And everything else is like not always bad news, but like, hey, we have this, like, we had repairs come in. We need to talk about that. Oh, hey, the appraisal didn't come in as high as we thought. We need to talk about that. Like, the loan's not done yet. I know we were supposed to release that the other day, but we're not there yet. Yeah. And then that balancing act of, like, how much do you tell? And when do you call someone? Like, I think that makes a great agent. Yeah. Knowing when to get, not lie to your clients, but when to give when to give information and when not to give information until you have the full picture of information. Right. Like, I mean, luckily he's not gonna. One of my clients right now, I had an offer 2 days ago, but I knew it was below asking, and I know I had a few more coming in today. So instead of being like, I have 340, like, because I know his personality, I know it's good. What's now? It's like, do we have an offer yet? Oh, it's on its way. And then it's like, okay, we got the other one, the one I really wanted. Okay, we have this offer and this offer now. Yeah. Now we go from there. Yeah. I think that's the difference between brand new agents or not good agents. Like, they'll blab out information too quickly to their clients and they're not ready for the backlash of it. Well, yeah, I mean, and you had told me, when I was going through the transaction, be the light, which was like, it stuck with me because a big part of my personality is, I like to be a helpful person. I'm definitely, I don't know if you into Enneagrams, but I'm an Enneagram type 2. So I'm all about. I know a number. Someone told me my number. I can't remember. But I'm all about helping others and seeking out the needs of other people before my own. So it's all about, in terms of, be the light, it's this, okay, I understand that you might be afraid, or like, how can I help you through this process, and show them the positive side of things. And, so that helped me a lot. I'd find myself when there was tough calls that needed to be made to talk to them. It was like, okay, I understand this seems scary, but at the end of the day, it's going to be fine. And this is not that big of a deal. And this happens all the time, or whatever it is. And just easing their fears through the process. I think that's the biggest thing, is like leading them. Most people want to be led. Yeah. And they want to be told what to do. Yeah. So when you come to people and you don't know, like, you tell them the problem, but you don't have the solution, right? Then it gives them time for their mind to go down the rabbit hole. When it's like, hey, listen, this happened, but we're going to do X, Y, Z to solve that problem. Right. That's what we're going to do. Yeah. And then they go, oh, okay. Like, it just kind of leads it. Not like, hey, we have this problem. Yeah. I'm going to get back to you on how we're going to fix it. And then as that time goes, they then try to come. And then then they're calling people. That's how like, they're calling their cousins or their uncle who's never sold a house before. Or they're calling the most negative person they know. Like, I knew, you told me this was going to happen. This is what's happening. And then it just spirals. But if you just like, this is what we got going on, this is what we're going to do, and I'll give you a call with an update when it's done, people are like, oh, cool. And like that, I think people don't realize that's what you're paying for, is to take the stress off of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I want my lawyer to do that. If I ever need a lawyer, like I want them to be like, okay, you're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, and
Right.
we're gonna do this. Great.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Or, you know, I just think that people don't process that same way. You know, it's like when a cop, if something bad's happening, a cop shows up. Just tell me what you want me to do. You have the training, you have the expertise. Get me out of here alive. Like,
Yeah.
just tell me what to do and let me get out of
Yeah,
here.
absolutely.
You know, so, well, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
It's always nerve-wracking, the first one.
It is. It was nerve-wracking.
I mean, it gets a little bit easier, but then like the scale just gets bigger and bigger. And the issue is with real estate, what makes you a great realtor, but also makes it really terrible for you, is that like we're all want to be like, we're people pleasers. That's something I struggle with. It's like I just want to give them the answer they want, and it's just not possible half
Not
the
always
time.
the case.
And so it's like now, and when people don't realize you're the face of the problem, the house ain't selling. You're the only they can't call and scream at the Fed for raising rates. You're the person that they're attacking. So it's like, how do you justify that? How do you deal with that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah. Well, I think just a lot of times when people are stressed out and they're panicked, you know, the platform to just listen to their fears and
Yeah.
everything, and just sometimes they just need to get it out.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes you end up being the dumping
You
ground
are the
for them.
dumpster. I mean, that's the thing, is like you have to be able to handle those things and just
Yeah.
kind of move
Yeah.
on from them. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Just act like it's just like, well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, it won't be the first or last time someone screams at me. You know what I mean? Like that's definitely
And
the
how do you process through
when
days
someone
like that?
when someone yells at me.
When you've been like yelled at and people are screaming at you.
I've come to terms now that it's like there's nothing I could do about it. Like if it's not our fault, like if it's not something we did wrong, which most of the time it's not our problem, I just wear it. I just assume that it's going to be their problem. I've also gotten a little bit better at things. Like I won't, if I have to give bad news, I give it at the end of the day. Because if you give it to someone at 9 a.m., they have all day to complain to you. But if you give it
Yeah.
to them at 5:30 or 6 o'clock at night, the window of complaints is a lot smaller.
Right.
That's something I've really picked up on. The whole thing, like I would tell you, like don't tell anyone bad news until you have a solution, or until you know all the information.
Yeah.
So cutting down on those conversations, doing a lot of sending clients a lot of videos, and allowing them to have time to process their emotions, and then say, hey, let me know when you want to jump on a call to talk about this.
Yeah.
Things like that, just allowing people to consume the bad news. If it's something that's bad news that can't be solved, like, hey, listen, your house has been on the market 60 days, it's not selling, we need to do a price drop. That's something I want them to sit on for a while and give them data to back up why I'm justifying telling them what we need to do. And then if it's something like a repair issue or something like that, then it's me being like, okay, what's the solution? I'm going to tell them the problem, give them the solution at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of times like I drag my feet a lot of time because of those things. And I'd rather take the any update, no, not yet, than give them the bad news and then I'm dealing with any update anyways. So it's like, I'd rather just do it when I have an actual solution.
Mm-hmm.
So those are probably the things I've definitely done. And I've just gotten way more confident, and I just know how to shut people down a lot more. Like you've seen me with certain of our clients, just that like going down a rabbit hole. And it's like, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing. All right, let's move on. And like
Right.
telling them like this is the best thing, or we are lucky this happened. Just reminding them like this is good news, even though it might not sound good. It is good. You're just not processing it because it's a big part of
Connected.
Yeah, you're. That's the thing that I don't think clients realize. One, I'm not. Obviously, I want the paycheck because that's how I pay for my life and pay my staff. But like, I'm not emotionally connected to the deal,
Right.
and I'm so numb to it now. Like, I just got a call today. Like, we lost the listing because they're gonna rent it. It's what it is, right? Like, I'm not like, oh my god, like So for me, it's just like, okay, like if that's what you think, like if I truly thought it wasn't the best thing for you and it was like really, really bad, I would tell them. But it's like, for me, it's like, meh, makes sense. I would probably do that, or that's,
Yeah.
and I can only just advise them on what I would do in that road,
Yeah, I mean, a big part of real estate, at least your clients, right? It's an emotional process.
Yeah.
You're either, buying your first home, and this is like, a big step for you and your partner or whatever, or you're listing a house that, is, you've had memories in it. There's a big emotional element to buying and selling. And then when you have an agent, they don't have those emotional connections. So it's almost better to just lean on them because they don't have those ties, to whereas you're gonna.
Yeah. Like, I don't personally take, like, I hate when clients, like, our agents, I'll ask them, like, what'd you think? Oh, my clients loved it, or my clients liked it, but they're not going to write an offer. That means they hated it. If they loved it, they would write an offer. So I always have to remind agents, this isn't my house. You're not going to upset my feelings. What is it about the property your client did not like? And then it's like, they didn't like this, and this, and this, and this. Thank you. I think agents, that is a big thing about agents. They're so non-professional. It's like, you're not going to hurt my feelings. You're making it worse for me, saying, oh, my clients liked it, but they're not going to write an offer. So then when I go back to the client, they're like, oh, well, they liked it. No, they didn't. Well, no, she said they liked it. I agree, but they didn't like it enough to write an offer. That means they don't like it.
Right.
Like, they like it, or, oh, my clients don't like, they like it, but okay, is there a price that they would want to write an offer on? Oh, they just really don't like it. Okay, then. So then it's not, they didn't like it. You're just trying to be nice. I don't need you to be nice. I'd rather you just be brutally honest.
Yeah.
But those are the people that also then can't be honest with their clients. So it's this spiral effect. Like agents, like sellers, you have to realize, or buyers in general, like if your agent can't be honest with you, then what are you worried? Because they're worried about upsetting your feelings. You're not going to get what you need.
Right.
Like if you walk into it, I've had clients say they're going to use me, don't use me, go use someone else. 2 years later, call me. We hate our house. We should have used you. Sorry, man. Like, we're ready to sell it now because we hate it. Well, yeah, I could have told you have kids and you live on a busy street. Why would anyone let you buy this? Oh, we were tired of looking, and it's controlling those emotions. That's really what our job is.
Yeah.
So going into 2023, you kind of came in the market at a bad time.
I did.
You came into like super craziness to like dead stopped.
Yes.
It's like you're literally like driving a car way too powerful for you, and you just got your permit, right?
Very true.
And you're literally all over the road, and now you ran out of gas. It just strictly ran out of gas, and now you're like, all right, what do we do now?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That sums up my real
I
estate journey.
I will say this, like, it can only go better.
That's true.
Right? You've only gone from the craziest seller market ever to now, and now we're going in the right direction.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of, people that are kind of panicked because, they got in right when it was really hot and they made just insane amounts of money.
And now they're like, whoa.
They're like, what do I do? I don't understand.
I know. It's like our development. It's like I sold 9 houses in one day when we got my last development. Now it's like we've been on the market like 2 weeks. And it doesn't help. It's been raining, but like we put 2 in escrow and maybe we'll have a third one in. Right. And it's like, I'm going to have to work on this thing. It's going to take us a while to sell all these.
It's not just come.
It doesn't just like
handed to you in a silver platter.
I wish. I wish.
Yeah, no, it was a tough, it's been interesting. It's been a learning process. I think is going to make me stronger and a better agent just in terms of pushing through the hard, I guess you could say.
I mean, I think you have to, it makes you want to do this job because it's like, there's going to be so many people leave the industry because the money's not easy anymore. Yeah. And so they're going to be like, I don't want to deal with this. And that's the thing. It's like, it takes like, I look at anyone who's like, not just like been hot for like 4 or 5 years, but like been around for like 20 years or 10 years. It's like, they went through the down market. They've gone through we got to tighten everything up. Listen, no vacations. We got to we gotta cut costs, we gotta do this, and like that's how then on the back side of it, like that's how I look at it. I'm like, I'm excited right now because it's like, okay, you're quitting or you're cutting, and I don't think a lot of people are improving. So it's like, if we could take the slow time to improve, so when things catch back up, it's like if you're not using slow time or downtime to improve the product, improve the service, then it's like you're gonna come on the backside and not even be around. Right.
I mean, I'm kind of fortunate in that, I didn't have this opportunity to invest in all these things and spend all this money and get myself too heavily
everyone's over leveraged.
Right. To where now I have to cut costs. I'm just down at the bottom.
Can you imagine if you were to sign like a year contract with Zillow when things are popping off and you're in like 5 G's a month? No. You know what I mean? Or like I stopped signing year leases for products. It's like I'd rather pay the extra a month than lock myself in for a year. Yeah. Because it's like you got to be able to pivot. Mm-hmm. And I'm interested to see what happens now. Like, I mean, I think things will speed up this year, but it's like I don't think the whole spend $20,000 a month on leads can come back. Not anytime soon. It's just like to spend $240,000 a year on business. It's like
It's a lot.
plus all the systems, plus the ISAs, plus it's just like
It's a lot of pressure.
And everyone I talk to is like, it's all grind. It's like it's such a grindy way to do business.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, it's not fun. I don't think I could do it.
You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me.
I would be miserable. I'd rather just do this.
Yeah.
Shoot a video once a week. So, hey, why don't we lead off this? 2 things. What's the best advice you'd give to a brand new agent?
Oh, best advice. Don't think that everybody and your friends and your family is just automatically going to sign with you just
Whoa,
because you got
love
your
it.
your license. That's one of the
it.
biggest lessons I learned.
Yeah.
Another
That is
thing-
a slap. I think people truly undervalue that statement right there.
They really do. I think so many people enter into this industry going, oh my gosh, I know so many people. You know, they're all going to use me.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be a breeze. And, you know, I think a lot of people I talk to, it's the opposite. You're like, wait, I just don't understand. You just didn't call me for your transaction? I don't get it. Yeah. So, and that's a common thing. And
It happens
you know,
way more than people process. Like, how many people are like, oh, when you get your license, I'm going to buy a house.
Yeah.
I can't wait to buy a house with you. And then you're like,
Yeah.
just
You're going to be amazing. You're
just
going to be
sold.
so awesome.
They're like, they just posted sold.
no,
do
you
I-
can't lean on that.
Do I heart it?
Right.
You know, and that's the thing. It's like, it's such a competitive world out there. And it happens. Like, it happens to all of us. That's the thing that you'll learn too, is like, you'll take people from people that know an agent better than you.
Yeah.
And then your people. And it's sometimes just like, oh, I walked into an open house and the guy was a great salesman. And next thing you know, the guy's at my house today and I'm signing a listing agreement. I really don't know what happened. I've done that before. And all of a sudden, like, what the hell? Like, dude, I literally like just walked in the open house. Next thing you know, I signed a listing agreement. Or I walked in the open house. I liked the house. He said, write an offer with me. You'll get it accepted. And I just did. You know?
Yeah.
And people don't realize we don't get paid unless we do deals.
Yeah.
That's another thing. I don't know why. Like, I don't get paid unless you...
It's true.
I told someone that the other day. It was she worked at she was a nurse, and I was like, could you imagine going to the ER every day, and every time someone walked in who needed help, you guys lined up and they would just pick someone, and if they didn't pick you, you didn't get paid for that day. What would you do?
I know.
She's like, and what if I walked in and I didn't pick you? Would you be upset? Yes, I would. Okay, then it's the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a small business, right? Everybody's like, support small business. And, you know, I don't know. Did they recognize real estate agents?
I don't think
as,
they do. I think because we work for
business?
brokers, I think they think we're employed by brokers.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, that's the one thing I learned. Like, it is truly like to do it on a level, not even a big level. Like, I don't think I do this on a big level, but like even on this small of a level, it's like business license, HR, this, that, business license, copyright, making sure you don't post the like you're posting the wrong right thing. Like, I just got fined $2,500 for posting the wrong thing. You know, all these rules that you have to follow, and it's like, I'm just trying to sell some houses. Like, what are you talking about? I can't post this because that is someone has trademark. That's a trademark. I'm just a realtor. I'm just trying to post. I sold a house. Like, what? And you know what I mean? And all of a sudden it's like do not compete, and then it's you know, stopping the seats, and I'm like, well, I'm just trying. That is the one thing I'm like, holy this is serious.
Yeah.
Like, I think that is the one thing I'm like, oh, okay, this is interesting. Mm-hmm. You know, that's probably my big thing. And then the second thing would be is, why should someone hire you? Adrian, clip this.
why should I think that, I'm somebody that's easy to get along with. And, I really, like I said, I enjoy people. I like connecting with people. And that's a big part of why I got into this. I'll go to open houses and just connect with people at the open house, and we hit it off. And, it can be a positive experience in real estate. It's not always this used car sales experience where we're coming in with a big cheesy smile being, trying to wheel and deal. You know what I mean? There's this element of, hey, this can be a difficult emotional process, and you need somebody that's going to be compassionate to that process. And that's definitely the way I want to build and grow my business is within that.
Yeah, I said on the last podcast that we just did, I said you kind of have two choices. You can work with turn and burn. So if you put your information in Zillow, they're just selling your number to some random agent.
Yeah.
That's more of the turn and burn. You're just working. You don't really care who you work with. You don't even know a premier agent. They just pay for that spot. Trust me, I know how the game works. And then, or you're more relationship based. And the best advice I give anyone is when trying to find an agent, ask the people you trust and know, and if they use someone and they had a great experience, then do a little bit of homework on that person and then go from there. I think that's the best advice to find an agent, because not everyone's meant for everyone. My style is not meant for everyone.
Right.
I know that, which some clients would want to work with me and not work with you, and some people would want to work with you and not work with me.
Yeah.
So it's truly fine. You're, especially now, you're going to be dealing with your agent for 30 to 60 days minimum, plus if they're a good agent, forever. So it's you really want to make sure who you work with does matter in that aspect, and then know it's not, we're saying things about brand new agents, it's all right to work with an agent brand new because obviously they don't have the experience, but if they're okay finding the information,
right,
because no one will ever know everything. Even today, one of my clients asked me something. I've sold his son's house, sold his dad's house, sold some other house, and I'm I have no idea, honestly. I've never heard this before. I'll call you back. He's like, oh, cool. Yeah. But not having the fear of being oh, well, no, just being honest and being yeah, I don't know that, but I'll get the answer for you.
Right.
Really, that's all you can ask for.
Right.
So anyways, well, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm excited to see the band.
Yeah.
So if you need a band, call her.
Yeah.
So if you need a house, a band, or an asphalt lay, she's the lady to call.
I'm your girl.
Yeah, call her up, hit her up. And we have connections with Honey, a train. What else we got? What else we got going over there?
Batting cages.
We got a batting cage coming up.
Yeah.
We got a batting cage. So if you're in the Beaumont area and you need a batting cage, call her.
Absolutely.
It's a go-to person.
Yeah. One-stop shop.
One-stop shop over here. Thanks, guys. Make sure you go follow her on Instagram. Check all her stuff out. If she doesn't do a video a week, send her DM saying, where's your video? I'm just going to start putting everyone on blast. Appreciate you. Until next time, guys.